Okay, so we're going to do a little bit more about the mikveh. That's a good question about what does the water mean in the mikveh? And how do you, if it's an internal thing, so then why can you do the internal without the water? Okay, so we have to know, first of all, in general, water, like Rav explains, water, the first thing that was created, Hashem created, the very first thing was water. Right? Everything is water. And I think scientifically it works out this way too. So the reason why is because what comes out is that the element that's closest to things when they were the reality before all of these complicated issues, right? It's all Hashem, right? Is water. So water has the power, on the one hand, the potential to help us connect to Hashem in a very special way, purify, cleanse us. And it's in general also, everyone knows you need a shower, you go to the water. You don't just say, well, I'll roll in dust. It doesn't help. There's no other way to replace really water. It's very difficult. How do you clean something without water? It's not so easy. Maybe impossible. Very often. That's what the water is, right? So that's the first thing. Like, number one, the water has a tremendous power. Now, water also has a negative power. And this actually comes up also with the kind of chametz, right? You put this water in, the water makes all sorts of things happen with this bread, and then comes Pesach, you can't touch it, right? Because water also has it's called mayim azidonim. Means insolent waters or guilty waters or however you want to say it. There's water that's not so good, right? Mayim rabba liyuchul lechabas ahava. Great waters can't extinguish this love, as the non-Jews are non-Jewish, really mostly non-Jewish mores, like values, which are not so good. Those that are not so good, right? It's not every single thing is not good, but those are not today, especially in the West, based on the Jewish, right? It's based on the Torah, really, what it comes down to, just taking it a little bit to its precise, take it to its natural conclusion. But the negative values, that is the Bechina, it's called Mayim Azindon, it's Mayim, it's this water, it's the water that's negative water. Keep it washed away. The water has the power to wash away. That's not so good. So you have to be the mikveh, the halachas in the mikveh is making the water that's going to be the right purifying water, and not the water that's less useful. So when you're dealing with a certain types of tum and certain types of things, you have the mikveh the way you need to have it, and then it's able to get rid of it. If not, so it doesn't. Without the water, because you didn't do the action, so the body stays in its impure state. Now, this Indian that because the mikveh has this power, so then water also in general has a power. That's a different thing. That's a tremendous tahara. The type of said my sperm were very accepted because I had a mikveh at a certain point, I think, in his house. Even he always was careful before he wrote to go into it. The mikveh, that's tremendous cost. So that's going to protect. That's going to help. So mikveh is not a pashta thing, and that's in general with when you're dealing with things in general, halachic realities. Though there are realities that are revealed that's just the way things are. I'm fond of saying over a person is supposed to be if he. About carry, right? Somehow he had a mission, somehow in any way, even in a good way, even doing a mitzvah, right? His wife or whatever it is, right? So he needs to go to the mikveh. So Ezra made a takana, you need to go to the mikveh, right? You shouldn't learn a daven without going to the mikveh. Now, because the Klal Yisrael couldn't do it, it's hard to go to the mikveh, it's not so easy. So he's Mavatal, he said, you don't have to go anymore. Test kavin, if possible, some say showers like test kavin, you take this test kavin, pour 3 vessels, and it works for sure. Some say shower works, some say it doesn't. Right, but the Rambam says I never missed this tefillah, even though he possibly you don't have to, but I never missed it. And Yashiv says you should know when he said the defilement remains. They saw that it wasn't good to be without a mikveh. People can't do it, so they can't force you. He said, but you're missing something if you don't go. He said you need to go. This is the same thing. There's too many helps, and because it has this power, it's the same thing. But not too many helps. However, if you think you're going to a bath, so a mikveh is not doing the same thing as when you have the right kavanah. Now the truth is, the halacha is that if someone fell into a mikveh, when you're in a mikveh, that works. It works no matter what. It does work, because it's pure, again, it has this power of purity. It just has to have the right halachic realities, and that's the power of purity. There's actually a story with the Briskerot. I think it was in Brisk, I think it was in Brisk, or wherever he was, and he was supervising a mikveh somewhere, and he was just saying it's fine. So it's okay, it's good. And someone said, no, isn't there a crack? The rabbi is going to leak out. No, the minute it's leaking out, it's already invalid. So he was so upset, he turned white and fainted dead away. Okay? So then, he went through World War II. He went through all sorts of difficulties. He was in Israel, here in Israel, and someone came to visit him. And it was 40 years after that incident with the mikveh. And it's the same guy who had pointed out the crack. The Bishko saw him, turned white, and fainted dead away again. Home was permitted in mikveh. That was, he was like, that was so. A mikveh is serious. It's serious business. It has the power to purify it in any event, but especially if you want to do something eternal, you want it to really reach you. You're supposed to have in mind. You shouldn't have. It's not the best kavanah to say, "Oh, I'm just going to take a bath." That's not the best. That's not the, you go even go there. Oh, well, hey, this is a free shower. I know 10 shekel shower. I'm going to shower. Oh, maybe I'll immerse one up. You have to have that thought. Your thought has to be on mind that I want to connect to Hashem through the mikveh. That's the Taras HaKodesh is like, you really have to have the Kohen. Otherwise, it's not as helpful. So you have to have a Kohen, you want to do teshuva, you want to connect to Hashem, so the mikveh, it's hope, the hope. But again, because all these affairs are external, that's one of the reasons why the mikveh that's purifies and makes things right the way they're supposed to be. And in general, that's the way it is in halachas. There's a sefer which I really love. I try to learn every day. I do learn every day, except the days I don't. But that's the way it goes. And you try to learn something, it goes, it doesn't go. But that's what you want to say to the Makor Chaim. He goes through a lot of details of halacha. So sometimes it's very kabbalistic, and sometimes it's very sublime. It's always very sublime and beautiful and very inspiring. But sometimes it's a little harder to explain. It's easy to explain, but he goes through a lot of different discussions and explains a lot. And really, the shorish of all the mikvahs of Nasnas is brought in various places. This idea, the shorish of the mikvahs is the mikvah shuas. Mikvah shuas is a very powerful mikvah. It's power to really do things, incredible things. As Hashem, we zoch in shvuos. We'll talk about it. See after the shvuos. Hashem zoch into the purity of the mikvah.
Amen.